Welcome to day 5. I would say TGIF, but when you work 7 on, 7 off, Friday is really not that exciting because it's definitely not your Friday per se. So I still have to work Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. So TGIF for those of you that just got done working for a Friday, so that's awesome. But anyway, so I was going to give you guys an update. I was supposed to go swimming this morning with the boys, but when I got home, my husband had told me that he'd been up until like 3 o'clock in the morning or something with the dog, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning with the dog. He's got a seizure disorder, and so we've been trying to get his meds regulated and set, and I guess Anthony was trying to check out and see how he's doing because he wasn't really sure exactly what his current status is. The vet said every time we change his dosage of his medication, you had to give him another 2 weeks to regulate and see if it's how it's affecting him. And he's been up a lot at night and pacing a lot, and so we had to, seriously, he's kind of cute, but we had to buy him little shoes to put on because our hardwood floors downstairs are very slippery for him, so he was continuously falling, and he's an older dog, so we were worried about him hurting himself. So anyways, Anthony was tired this morning. That was the point of that story. And so we decided we will go swimming tomorrow morning, on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock when the pool opens. So okay, so I went to bed, no big deal. Didn't sleep for very long. I slept for 4.5 hours today, but that's all right. It's besides the point. So anyway, when I talked to Anthony this evening, he was telling me about his day, and he told me that he went swimming. And I was like, I thought we were going swimming tomorrow. He said, yeah, I thought about it. And can you imagine how many people are going to be there if it's usually busy on a weekday? Can you imagine how many people are going to be there on a Saturday? And I was like, yeah, that's true. So anyway, so the boys went swimming this morning. End of story. They took care of that. Kind of a bummer. I would have liked to have gone and gotten some exercise, and at the same time, I wasn't really looking forward to staying up until like 11:30, 12 o'clock, because if I do sleep, I tend to sleep much better in the morning than I do in the afternoon, so I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is, and it's over, so that's cool. And tomorrow morning, I am going to go, I leave work at 7, I'm going to go over to Kohl's in the morning. They open, Saturday is the only morning that they open at 8, rather than opening at 9, and I have a 30% off coupon that expires on Sunday, so I wanted to go and check and see if they had any dress pants on their clearance section so that I could wear something. My pants are too big for me, which is great. I mean, that's awesome. That's definitely the right direction. They're not too tight, and I have to buy new ones, but I have to fold over the top edge, the rim around where there should be belt loops, but my pants don't have any belt loops. So I have to fold them over, and they stay, so that's cool, but they make like this bulky little roll around my waist, and it doesn't sit well with shirts and stuff like that. I don't want to buy a new wardrobe or anything, but I'd like to buy maybe 2 new pairs of pants. I really would like a pair of gray slacks. I know I'm kind of pushing it. I highly doubt that Kohl's is going to have gray slacks on their clearance rack, but anyway, that would be my goal, to see if they have some of those. And then I need to stop on my way home and pick up some spinach because we used the last of the, oh, hi, sorry, hang on just 1 second, sorry about that. We had to use the last of the spinach in making, I wanted a smoothie this evening, so my husband made orange juice and spinach and frozen mango and a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, just like before, but it is my favorite. Whenever I make one, it's never as good as when he makes it. I don't know. He's just got the magic touch for making a smoothie. So anyways, that's what's going on so far. And as far as food goes, I brought a little bit more with me today because I'm going to go over to Kohl's in the morning, so just to make sure I'm not super, super hungry when I'm out and about. I brought a salad, obviously. Can't forget the salad every day. And so I have a salad, and then I also have the last of the creamy squash soup, and that has a little bit of rice in it. And then I have some of the leftover sprouts with some rice. The one that I had, not the one that was made into a soup, and not the one that's the carrot salad, but the one that I just mixed with a few different ingredients, give it like a little Asian flair touch to it. And then I did bring some of the carrot, zucchini, and bean sprout salad. And I actually had some, I had like 1-ish 12:31, something like that. And it was better than I expected, but it definitely needed a tiny little bit of soy sauce. There was just some, I'm not sure what it is that was in the sauce, but there was something in the sauce that was just a touch, I don't want to say bitter, because it wasn't really bitter, but sour maybe? I don't know. I know that there's lemon juice in there, and maybe I just had just a tiny bit too much lemon juice for it, or just for me. Maybe somebody else would think it was awesome. But so I put just a little bit more soy sauce on the top of it, and that took away that slight little tang that I didn't particularly like, and it's really good. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll post where I got that recipe from, and let you know what I did to adjust it, because I never make any recipe the way that it's written. I always adjust it to be to our preferences, our tastes, or just flat out what we actually have in the house. But anyways, so that's the update for the moment. Oh, and I have a part of a Korean melon chopped up, so I'm really actually looking forward to that. That's very exciting to me. I did finish my cherries yesterday finally, so I get to have a new fruit today. But anyway, so I'm almost to work, so I will talk to you guys again later. Alright, so I have a story that I need to tell you. I got to work a little bit early. So yesterday, I got to work, and there was, one of our nurses was in the parking lot and had his hood up on his car and had jumper cables attached to it, and the other end of the jumper cables were attached to nothing, just sitting on the ground. And so I just figured that somebody was going to come over and give him a jump, because there were several people that were out and about at the time. And there was one lady that was backing her van out like right then and there, and there was two other people walking to their cars, so I just assumed that somebody was going to come and give this gentleman a jump. And so I parked my truck, and then I looked down there a minute later, and like nobody was pulling up next to the guy at all. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I walked down the, I don't know, it was 5 or 6 parking spots down. So I walked down and asked him, hey, it looks like you're obviously waiting for somebody to come and give you a jump. Do you want me to pull my truck around and give you a jump real quick? And he said, oh, that would be great. I called my wife, and she'll be here in a few minutes, but she's still a little bit out. And I was like, okay, no problem. So I pulled my truck around, drove around so that my battery would be on the correct side, and so I was closest to him. And then proceeded to realize that because he was parked at the end, and there was a fairly decent amount of yard there with a very large curb, that his jumper cables were not long enough. They were not going to reach my truck. And the only way I was going to reach him was to drive my truck up onto the sidewalk. And like I said, it's a pretty good sized curb. It's not a little curb. And I drive a truck, guys. It is fully capable of going up the curb. And I really didn't want to at all. So I said, well, how about we push your vehicle out of the spot, and I'll just pull up in front of you, and we'll just block the parking lot for a few minutes, no big deal. So that would have been an option, but he couldn't get his car out of park. It wouldn't move. It wouldn't do anything. So anyway, I called into work because I knew one of the gentlemen that was working. He's a bigger, stronger guy, and so I thought maybe he would be able to help push the car even if it wasn't going out of park. I don't know what I thought. Anyway, so he said, well, why don't I just bring the Jeep around? And because I had told him the jumper cables aren't long enough. He said, well, I'll just bring the Jeep around. I'll just drive up onto the curb. And then I felt really retarded, because I was like, I drive a truck. My truck can take the curb. But I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Come on out. So anyway, he came out and drove up the parking lot, and then seriously just drove right up onto the curb like there was no big deal about it. And again, I was like, my truck could have done that. So anyway, so the gentleman got his car started, and it was no problem. It was no big deal. And when the other gentleman that I work with came back inside, I was brushing him off because he was standing like in a tree and had like tree pieces all over the back of his shirt. But anyway, the reason that I didn't want to drive my truck up onto the curb is I really baby my truck. I mean, it's a truck. It's got rust in the bed, and it's got scratches on it, and it's got hail damage, and okay, you know, it's a truck. It's got issues. But the last time I replaced the tires, it cost me like over $1,700 to replace the tires. So I am just so cautious with my tires. I just really didn't want to drive them up onto the curb at all, which is so retarded because it's a truck. It could have totally taken the curb. So anyway, one of those things is that I saw someone driving in front of me, just a couple cars over, on the way to work, and one of their front tires had the donut on, and the tire behind it was like half flat, like really half flat. And it just makes me cringe when I see something like that, because I'm sure that a car that size, the tires aren't nearly as expensive as on a truck, but man, just keep your tires inflated like they're supposed to, and just pay attention to them and do your maintenance and rotate them and stuff, and they should last the amount of mileage that it says that they will. But anyway, I just thought I would let you guys know that silly girl with a silly truck, and I didn't want to drive it like I'm supposed to be able to drive it, because I'm babying my tires. Which is stupid, but it was. That's what it was. So moral of the story, keep your tires inflated well, and if you've got a truck, you can drive it on the curb and it won't hurt it. So anyway, so you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you again later. Hey guys, so I'm at Kohl's going to go in and do a little bit of shopping, and I'm waiting for another 20 minutes until they open, but I thought I would show you quick what a Korean melon looks like, seeing as I talk about them on a pretty regular basis. My husband cut one up for me last night. It looks kind of like this. It should have obviously pieces on either end. This end was a little bit soft, so he cut it off, and then this end just should have an end to it. And then it has, so we just cut it in slices like this. And then it's got seeds in the middle. Oh, you can't see through that one, sorry. It's got seeds in the middle, and you just scoop them out. They come out really, really easily. And like I've said before, you actually can eat the skin, which I don't find bitter at all, so I do. And you actually can eat the seeds, which I find extremely hard and pokey, so I don't eat those ever, because I don't like them at all. They poke your gums and they're just not nice. Normally, here's a little ringlet of Korean melon. Normally, they're extremely crunchy. They're very crisp, kind of like eating a cucumber, like really crisp. And they have a little bit of the flavor of a honeydew melon. They're very sweet. They're delicious. I don't think this one is quite as crunchy. I think it might be getting on to the point of being a little overripe, but can you hear that? It'd be kind of funny if you can't actually hear it because it's loud in my ears, but anyway, really, really good. Highly recommend it. I bought a box of 12 of them at the Asian market for $11.99. And the whole thing only has 96 calories in it, which, I mean, that's awesome. That's the same as an apple, and you get, you know, that. So anyway, just thought I would share that with you guys. Thought it was kind of neat. Definitely encourage you to go out and purchase one of these. They're super awesome. I really think you will enjoy them, and they're super yummy. Bye. Okay guys, that trip into Kohl's was semi-successful. I managed to get socks for all 3 boys who don't have short socks, and it's definitely summertime in Texas, so they need short socks. So I managed to get those. No dress pants that I liked at all, which, okay, kind of didn't really expect to find anything on the clearance racks anyway, but I did find a beautiful black and white dress that I love, and it doesn't fit because it's a tiniest bit too tight. Like really, really, really not super, super too tight, but just too tight that, no, not quite. So, rather than put it back on the rack, I bought it. It was on clearance, and I did have 30% off, so it really wasn't that expensive. But I think that it will just be a good challenge for me to get into. I think that my daughter will be getting into the military probably sometime in the next 2 months. She's studying for her ASVAB right now. So when she finishes that and goes to basic training, we would like to go to her graduation from basic training, and that will be the dress that I wear. That's my goal. So we'll see what happens. That might mean I need to actually be serious about this exercising thing and getting a little bit more toned in some areas. So anyway, just thought I would let you know that is going to be part of the new goal, is to try to fit into this really pretty dress. And when it fits, I will show you guys.